Welcome to Rebecca and Rebecca.
Where we love books.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Rebecca and Rebecca, where we love books. My name is Rebecca Yager, coming to you from north of Dallas, Texas, and my partner in books is the very lovely and talented and busy Rebecca Reed from Indiana. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello, how are you today?
Doing great. We're talking books today, and this one was kind of a fun one. We're going to discuss Eyewitness Sketch by Danielle Grandinetti. And this is like a 1930s cozy mystery, second chance romance kind of
All
um,
kinds of things. Yeah.
fun era to,
It is a fun story as well. And I have the back cover so
let's
I can read that for us and then can dive
let's
in.
dive in. Yeah.
Okay, so this is technically book two of the Distacio Giornalista Agency series. However, the first one is kind of like a prequel in a way. It's like
Mhm.
a novella that tells the origin of this agency. So this is kind of really the first actual book in the series that
Right.
tells the story of these journalists. So finding love at death's door might destroy them both. Chicago, Illinois, 1931. Gabriella Salentino, an illustrative journalist for the Distacio Giornalista Agency, never planned to return to her island home at the tip of Wisconsin's Door Peninsula. Nor did she plan to witness a murder. But when her life is threatened, she has no choice but to hide out under the protective care of the man she left behind. Deputy Andre Johansson has been coming to Gabby's rescue his entire life, but having her in his secluded home tests the limits of his patience. The woman has no sense of self-preservation, and he has a smuggling ring to ferret out. Except her skill with sketch pad and pencils might be the very investigative tool he needs in order to catch the bootleggers. With a murderer on her trail and criminals evading detection, Gabriella and Andre must set aside the past or risk its eruption. Because this time, the collateral damage might include more than losing their friendship. It might cost them the lives of those they love.
That is Eyewitness
So,
Sketch. Yeah.
yes, Eyewitness Sketch. So, and she has a list of the tropes, which I thought is kind of cool. I mean, I know people are doing that on Amazon
Yeah,
nowadays, and
there.
I kind of like that. So I was going to just read through that. You mentioned second chance romance already, but it also has forced proximity because they have to stay together.
Mhm.
A canine bodyguard,
Oh, yeah.
partners in crime solving, a small town return slash homecoming, and it's a Prohibition era reunion romance. So I thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
Um,
That
so
is,
there you go.
and that's a lot to throw
It
into a
is a
book.
lot.
But Danielle Grandinetti, I just love saying her name.
I know.
It just she does it well, I think. This whole idea of the um, Distacio agency that is all women journalists is
Hmm.
fascinating on its own in the 30s because women journal, I mean, again, she's
Right.
bucking against trends. She's bucking against what the country's all about. And here's this Chicago agency that's filled with these women reporters who have to be feisty. And then to have an
Yes.
illustrative journalist, someone who sketches, which I know was the thing. They did not do photos in the newspapers at one time. They did the sketches
Hmm.
there. And Gabby's just hearing about how she sketches and how she does it, I thought was really interesting. Just the whole concept right there. Um,
It is fascinating and it's interesting because in more than one way, because there's actually a fantasy book where there's a character who does almost the identical type of thing. She, of course, has some abilities that come with it, but the fact that she has this like takes this mental picture, which is what Gabriella does as well, was the same basic method. So I just love that because it
Yeah.
to me, because I like fantasy, and I when I read this character, I'm like, oh wow, that so that made me wonder if this is a real like this is how many people can do that?
Oh,
Is that a
to
common ability? Because it must be a real, I mean, it must have something based in reality for that to be mentioned more in more than one story, even though one was fantasy and this is not. Um, I believe it has some basis in
and I'm not a
reality.
sketch artist. I wish I was. All my brothers can draw, and that talent did not come to me. I don't know. But to be a sketch artist, I guess you have to, there must be something about
There
it
must be something, yeah.
in your
So,
artistic brain that works that way.
hmm
But it was fascinating because Danielle goes into a little bit of Gabby's process of how she sketches.
yep.
Weaves it beautifully into the story, as a matter of fact. So it's not just an information dump. Weaves it in and makes it part of the story and how she works and how she possibly could help Andre if he would let her.
Yes, because that is part of her dilemma as a journalistic. She doesn't see herself, or others, I guess, is more accurately, do not see her as an actual journalist.
Hmm.
They see her as an artist, I believe. They see her beauty, but
Yes,
they do not see,
they don't.
because the other ladies in this agency are considered the more hardcore like journalists,
Right,
and
right.
she's small and she's petite and she's pretty and she's got this artistic
And
ability,
she's
and I
just
think
the artist. Yeah.
it takes them, yeah, they don't see her as an actual journalist, and
Right. Hmm.
she wants to do more. She doesn't want to just be the picture person,
She wants to be
right?
like an
She
investigative journalist.
Yeah, she wants to get into the meat of the story like the other ladies in this agency are, and prove that she can do that as well. And so there's that motivation for her, to use what she can do, which she's very, very good at, and everybody
Hmm.
acknowledges that. But
Hmm.
she wants them to see it as not just a picture of the what's going on, and she wants it to be a vital investigative tool.
Cool. Very good. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So when she witnesses yeah, she's an eyewitness to the murder and sees this, she's got to go into hiding. And so she goes back to kind of her childhood home, this island um, in northern Wisconsin, Door County area, where she meets up with childhood friends. But I thought it was interesting the culture clash, which is kind of part of this book, where
Hmm
Gabby is Italian and she's dark hair, dark eyes, that way. And she's going to Icelandic is the culture on the island. And they're very
Yes.
Norse, so they're very blonde, very blue-eyed, and she's very
Blonde
dark,
and,
blonde. I like that blonde.
blonde.
and
Yes.
and blue-eyed, and they talked about even as a kid she always stood out, so she's going into hiding, but she's standing out on this island, but it is her childhood home, so she has to go into hiding in Andre, we need to mention Johansson is a deputy sheriff or assistant sheriff,
Yes.
because we have
Deputy, I
the
believe.
chief and he's like the
It's
deputy,
he's
so
the second guy. They have a two-person police force. He's number two.
he's number two. There you
Yeah.
go. He's a deputy. And so it's his secluded cabin, and and they are being very proper for the 1930s because his mom is coming over to, chaperone,
Yes.
you know,
Plus they have the dog, who is
Freya.
also Freya, who is
Freya.
also chaperoning. So it's not like they're alone. And so the German Shepherd is a big part of the police force also, which is
Mhm.
cool. I always like, the animal
Tracker. Yeah.
connection,
Yeah.
and
And a
and
protector.
that's
Yeah.
and a protector, very, very
Yeah.
much so. And her nose. So it's interesting, I think, because right, we have the dog, who is a female dog.
Yes.
We have the illustrative reporter, the dog has more clout in the investigation
Yeah.
at the beginning than the girl.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And it's interesting. Oh, and another thing I thought of, and we haven't mentioned side characters, our favorite thing, and I think my favorite side character is Tabby, of course, Tabitha Johansson, who is Andre's little sister, who they all have a wrong image of too. And I'm not, no
Yes.
spoilers there, but in the sense that Gabby, they think of her as just pretty and she's a little illustrator when she wants to get to the meat of things.
Hmm.
Tabby's got plans and ideas, and there's much more depth to her than even her own family gives her credit for.
Yep.
Um, so it's interesting as these, but in different ways. That as she brings these characters in, that again, the dog has more clout. And the dog is very important. As a protector,
The
she's
dog is very
wonderful. Love
important,
the dog.
yes.
Love the dog. But
And to be fair, she's been working in this capacity for a long time,
yes.
whereas Gabby kind of ran away, we can say, I think, to some degree, to Chicago to do this,
Yeah.
to find this
Ran from
job, to have
young.
this,
Yeah.
but she was kind of running, right?
Yeah.
And so she hasn't been around. So Andre doesn't know her as a mature
As
woman.
a grown up. Yeah.
He only knows her as a girl.
Yeah.
And so that's a
Yeah.
fair, he has to adjust his view of her, and he does as time goes on. But there's been a gap of them
Yes.
not meeting each other, seeing each other. Um,
Right.
so that
Um,
causes, a little.
yeah. Yeah. There's actually two mysteries going on in the story. It just occurred to me.
Hmm.
About that one involving Gabby personally, and then of course the bootleggers that are invading the island. And again, this is during the Prohibition era. So in fact, at the end of the book, Danielle gives a little history on Wisconsin and the 18th Amendment and Prohibition, and it's really interesting. So read the back of the book. If you guys don't read acknowledgments, you need to read them. You find out more stuff.
Yeah, there's a fantastic note to the reader at the end that gives all the
Yes,
background, and it's fascinating.
yes,
I can't wait to talk to Danielle about the history and the background of all this, because
yeah,
it's obvious from reading the note that she knows exactly what she's talking about here, and how she wove all this stuff in is
right,
fascinating. So
right.
if you do like real history in your fiction,
Hmm.
this is going to be one that you'll want to pick up and
Hmm.
and go through, because it is accurate as far as I can tell. I mean, I'm not an expert, but like I feel like
Hmm.
she's done a ton of research, and you can tell by what she explains at the end that she knows what she's talking about.
Right,
So,
right. Well, we do know Danielle is a history. She has a podcast and does history notes on that. So I would trust her history and her research, and actually and
absolutely.
the way she and again the way she weaves some of this information in the book. She's weaving it in. She's not just dumping stuff on you.
Mm-mm.
You don't even realize you're learning, so to speak,
No, it's
because you're
all
moving the
very
story.
integrated into the story, and it's integral to the story too. It's not peripheral. It's
Hmm.
all part of the important pieces that make the story what it is. And she gets all the pieces in there, like the bootlegging and
Hmm.
the speakeasies and the flappers and the Chicago mob, because it's part of it's set in Chicago. So you've got all these little things. And then you've got the Italian community in Chicago as well. And then
Yes.
that she feels part of, which is contrasting what we just mentioned. She was the only, like, they were the only Italian family on this island. So a lot of interesting cultural
Yes.
tidbits
Yes.
also that are woven in, um and then the biases and the prejudices that you see from
Mm,
that era, between these groups of people,
right.
and between women and men, reporters and people, all of the, as far as the work part as
Right.
well.
Right.
Those cultural biases of the time period that are also highlighted in this story. So it makes a fantastic kind of
Mm.
um, study of this little piece of time in American history.
Yeah.
So,
And there's a fun story going along with all this too. So
Yes, a
And
very fun. Yeah, like you said, two stories really,
two
because
mysteries. Yeah.
there's two mysteries that are, and one is a well, there's actually almost three.
Three.
There's actually three now that we're digging into it. Like there's really three because one is from way, way, way
Way
back
back.
in
Right.
Gabby
Gabby's
and
world.
Andre's story,
Yes.
like
Yes.
from before. And then
Right.
there's the one that she witnesses the murder that's
So the
kind
current
of the
murder.
instigating instant,
Yeah.
inciting incident into this story here.
Right.
Then there's the whole bootlegging thing that's
Bootleggers.
going on the island that Andre and his the police are investigating there.
Yeah.
They all and then, so there's like three main mysteries and then, how is this all and plus the romance, of course.
A little
And
bit
then you've got
of
Tabby who has her own kind of
romance.
little side thing going on.
I'd say, and even
Um,
Andre's family is
yes.
great, and Tabby being a part of that, but his mother is really fun and part of it, and his sister, who is close friends with Gabby because they were all childhood friends
Yes. There's
on the
kind of a
child. So,
two-pronged found family situation going on
mm-hmm,
here.
mm-hmm,
Because Gabby was kind of grew up as part of Andre's family, so there was that situation. But then there's also the Stasio Giornalista agency found family that is very close too and close knit, and you'll see that as the story plays out, how they all come to each other's um, aid and
right,
backup and things like that
right.
too. So
Yeah, very good. And there is of course, a little bit of a twist. It's, mysteries. You have to have a little bit of a twist. And I had an inkling, especially about one of the characters, no spoilers here, that okay, there's something off with this character, but I did not see the twist at all, didn't connect it. And so I was happily surprised, going, oh,
yes,
because
it all made sense. She
yes.
put it all in there. It's not one of those ones where you're like, how did that happen? I didn't see that coming because it wasn't adequately like
Oh,
the
no,
the
it was
clues
laid
weren't there.
out.
This one is all in there. It's just it's a definitely a knock your socks off kind of twist. I liked it a lot.
I did too. It was unexpected.
And
That was, even though
yes.
things, the groundwork had been laid, as you realize through the story, but it really was unexpected. So,
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how she plots or pantses her books
yeah.
because that, we've interviewed authors before who Colleen Coble, for instance, said she doesn't know the
Mhm.
ending, when she starts. And so it'll be interesting to see if this is how Danielle writes or if she's a plotter and knows the whole thing and then is still able to pull off this kind of twist. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
I always like to compare those
I do. I want to see
those
how her
processes.
brain works here.
Hmm.
Um, Again, the book is Eyewitness Sketch. I think it's a fun, 1930s mystery with all those tropes that Rebecca listed at the beginning, in which Danielle weaves in really well,
Hmm.
seamlessly. So it was a fun read. And again, this is technically book one. The prequel is the setting up of the Destasio agency. And there are six books, well, seven if you include the prequel, the total, and it's all each woman in the agency, the journalists, get a
Hmm.
story, and it's interesting periods of time in the 30s
Yes.
that she's going to discuss or tackle in all these books, like the Olympics and
Yeah.
FDR's election and things like that are coming up.
Yeah,
So
fascinating topics. I can't wait to see, as she did such a great job on the historical, piece in this one. It'll be really fun to follow these and see how, especially the Olympics. That's one of my favorite things. So
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
wait to read that
yeah,
one.
yeah. Actually, I think there's just a couple of them are going to be
Oh yeah, I think you're
different
right. Two
Olympics
Olympics, one in Lake Placid and then one in Berlin,
in
maybe the one
Berlin.
that comes
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So it's interesting. So to me, the 30s, you think depression, and here she's highlighting all these events that kind of got overshadowed. And I think
and this period of time is not overly written about. So these are going to be fresh and unique takes on a period of time that isn't saturated and you haven't read 45 million, of these. So
Right, right.
it'll be something, if you're a historical fan of any sort, this will be something new and fresh, and you might just fall in love with the 1930s time
Good.
period. Who knows?
There you go. Meanwhile, pick up Eyewitness Sketch right now. Pick up Undercover Wish is the prequel that lays the groundwork of how the agency was developed, but then book one leaps like 30 years ahead
Yeah.
to start, and
And
book one is Eyewitness Sketch. So
And if you don't like to wait very long, book two will be coming out shortly after this podcast airs.
yes,
Or
yes,
so or book
yes,
three, depending on how you're counting. But the next one
yeah.
will come out shortly thereafter. So you won't have to wait. You can just kind of keep right on
Keep
going.
going
So
with the series and stuff. Um, Again, Eyewitness Sketch, fun read, really fun,
hmm
really interesting to learn about the time period and to learn more about Door County, Wisconsin, too. And
exactly. Yeah.
this in 2 weeks, we're going to talk with the author of this book, Danielle Grandinetti, and I think we have all sorts of questions to ask her. Um, it
And
just
in between, we're going to have a book bite
well,
with Morgan
okay.
Bussey.
With Morgan Bessie is in between,
hmm
and last week's book bite, in case you missed it, was with the fabulous Clint Hall. So catch up on our book bites as well. The whole schedule and the links to where you can find the book bites and our long form podcasts is at rebeccaandrebecca.com. So you can just find out who we've talked to, who we're going to talk to, what books we're reading, all that good stuff at our website. So.
And if you have suggestions, feel free to drop those in the comments. We would love to hear about that. So.
Good. We want to have a conversation with you. So,
And find us on, yeah, Instagram, Facebook. We're on those as well. Obviously, that you could comment there and talk to us about anything you have on your mind. We would be happy to talk books in any way, shape, or form with you. So,
always, always. So, or if you have an author you want us to talk to, bring on the show.
correct.
Hey, we're open to suggestions too, and see if we can reach out to that author if you don't already see their name on our upcoming schedule. So, all right. Meanwhile, Eyewitness Sketch, 1930s, cozy mystery, touch of romance, obviously historical. It's worth a read, I think. And join us in 2 weeks when we talk to the author, Danielle Grandinetti. Meanwhile, keep loving books, keep in contact, and we will see you next time.
Bye bye.